extra time.
Who does he expect to lose from this squad?
Well, from the current squad, I think, so I read this week that Hassan Mawar, I think their young attacking midfielder, forgive me if I said that wrong, but Mawar, he's already been put up for sale. They reckon about £45 million. And they're already saying that Moussa Dembele has been linked with Manchester United or Chelsea for about £60 million. And then, of course, there's Depay as well, who probably won't want to stick around with no European football at all because, you know, like all these footballers, they've got fickle interests at heart, really. So I think these are like the big three players in their side that they really could lose.
Dougie and I were talking the other day about like shoestring signings for big clubs this summer, and we talked about Axel Disasi, who is at Reims this season. Obviously, like you said, they've had the best defence in France. There was also Malang Sarr, who will be leaving Nice on a free this summer. He's been linked with a move to the Bundesliga as well. I think Eintracht Frankfurt and Borussia Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen are all taking an interest in him. Moussa Diaby, who went to Leverkusen from PSG last summer, not a centre-back, has been absolutely phenomenal this season.
He's unreal.
I think he's completing 4.5 dribbles a game or something. I think he's got something like 0.6 expected goals and assists per 90. Like, he looks like an absolute superstar. And it just, right now, it does feel like France's third team would get to the latter stages of an international competition. Like, they're absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, what I like most about them is you look at the transfer fees that were paid for them. So Nkunku, who's got 15 assists in all competitions this year, they paid Leipzig paid 12 million for him. Marcus Thuram, who's looked unbelievable for Gladbach, who's the son of Lilian Thuram, they paid 12 million. Diaby as well, they paid roughly 12 million for him again. So they've clearly just mastered the art of nipping into the French divisions, picking out these like excellent value players, and then just within a few years they're suddenly worth sort of triple, quadruple that. Like the amount of talent coming out is good. But I'll just praise another player. So this is quite interesting. This kind of goes back to what we're talking about. So St Etienne at the start of the year, I was reading, they budgeted to finish in 8th position. Okay, they're now going to finish in 15th position, which for them is a €15 million loss. Okay, so as a result of that, they're going to have to trim £400,000 off their monthly budget. So players like Johan Cabaye are apparently going to be released and stuff like that. But also, they accept that Ligue accepts that they're a feeder club. Out of all the top 5 leagues, they're a feeder club. They're the ones that sell the most, and they accept that's what they need to do to survive. So St Etienne were probably going to plan to sell, and the players that I've read they were going to consider selling was Dennis Bunga and Wesley Fofana, who's a 19-year-old centre-back. In January, they could have got €40 million for those, but as a result of what's happened and the fact that transfer market values because of coronavirus are going to be plummeting, you're probably going to be able to go into the market and pick up someone like Wesley Fofana, who's a solid centre-back for 19 years old. Apparently Leipzig are looking at him, like they're looking at every young French player, I assume. And they could get him for like €5 million now. So that's where like all these clubs are going to lose a serious amount of money. And yeah, you can go in then. You can probably get like the next generation of stars for like a really reduced fee.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was looking at a guy from Rennes who actually is he's Portuguese. Or no, he's Brazilian. But I think he's got Portuguese citizenship now. Rafinha, who came to Rennes from Sporting Lisbon. And they're really good at finding these players as well. Like, you can often find these sorts of bargains too. It's not just French players who kind of use Ligue 1 as their jumping off point for a move to a true super club. So he's now been there for a season. He's got 8 goals and assists in Ligue 1. But expected goals says he should have about 10. And I was looking at his expected goals and assists per 90, and it's 0.53, which is exactly the same as Moussa Dembele this season, who's obviously being linked with Man United for 70 mil. And Rafinha has not been talked about at all, as far as I can tell. He's completing nearly 3 dribbles a game. He's got over 2 key passes. He's taking a couple of shots. He's doing a decent amount of defensive work too. Now, Rennes paid about 20 mil for him. So if you want him, you're going to have to probably give them a decent return on that. But though Rennes are going to be in the Champions League next season, I don't really know what that's going to look like, what the prize money is going to look like. You know, PSG are always going to go further, and so they're going to take the lion's share of revenue because that's how it's determined, right? It's divvied up among clubs from the same country. But he just looks like a phenomenal young talent. Like, he's a really fast winger. He's extremely skillful. I think that if you're a club like Leicester, who I've been thinking about a lot recently, and you wanted to upgrade on Iosi Perez or just have a different sort of weapon, somebody like Rafinha would be a really, really great signing. And there are defenders all over the place too. I mean, last year we were talking about, Youssef Attal and Sofiane Alakouche and Amari Traore, and it looks like all of those guys could well be on the move this summer.
Out of the top 5 leagues, France are the most vulnerable to what's happening right now because they could literally get plundered. They're the ones that financially are going to suffer. I mean, just to give an idea of how difficult this is. So Marseille, who finished second, AVB's done a great job there. He sort of brought them back. They now owe all of their players a €100,000 bonus for getting Champions League football. Some getting like a 600k loyalty bonus. Apparently they can't even afford to pay that at the moment because they've lost so much money in revenue. So suddenly, once again, you're going to have to see a situation where they might have to start like selling players and some of their best players move on again. So yeah, I mean, and it's a shame really because like, especially for Ligue 1, you need other than PSG, you need like a strong league. You need these teams like Lyon, Marseille. You need them to at least provide some kind of competition, continue to bring it through. Otherwise, it just sort of gets more difficult and pointless every year. I mean, it's boring enough anyway that PSG win the league. You don't want to. At least this season, at the current rate, Marseille are only 8 points behind them. But yeah, I mean, the point is, if they all get raided in the way that they're potentially, this might happen to them as a result of the financial fair play issues, then yeah, the league's never going to look so sort of weak next year.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about it as well, especially with, I think, what has been a significant managerial kind of drop-off as well. Just the loss of Jardim from Monaco alone, I think he was probably the second best coach in that league, and I don't know, I'm a bit concerned. Like now, I think that Arsenal paying 30 mil for Saliba last summer, I think made sense at the time. It was a little bit of an overpay, but I think given some of the players who are going to move for relatively little over the next 2 years, we'll probably look back on that and say, wow, that was significantly above what they could have been paying if they'd just waited a year.
It is interesting that Arsenal end up paying 30 million for a defender, and yet going back to what we said, a lot of these German clubs are snapping up these stars, like Marcus Thuram for 12 million from Guingamp. How are they sort of achieving such better value in the market than someone like Arsenal? I mean, we don't even know for sure if Saliba is going to be a success.
Well, I think in fairness to Marcus Thuram, like Guingamp went down, and were in a less. He was really their only saleable asset. So I think they had to kind of sell him at a bit of a knockdown fee. Though there was a rumour at the time that he had a buyout clause of like 20 million euros and obviously went substantially below that. So I'm not quite sure how that happened. Maybe he might have had a shorter time left on his contract. But yeah, I don't know. It does seem like they're going to get absolutely pilfered. And to be honest, there's a part of me that's a little bit excited to see French talent spread out across the top leagues because I genuinely cannot believe the quality of player coming out of that division right now, and it does just seem like France are pretty much the future of football.
France, the future of football. I think you've heard it here first, everyone. This is.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be good for the French clubs, but for the French players and the French national team, it'll be pretty good, I think.